Next, we have from the late 80s, and this isn't a movie I see spoken about very often, but it's a movie titled The Dad Pit.
You know what? Actually, just before you go into that, it's had like a Blu-ray release just earlier this year, and so I've heard a lot about it. Not necessarily about the movie, but about the Blu-ray release, because the company that released it, they're just notorious for a lot of different reasons. But so whenever they mention something or do a Facebook post, it just blows up.
Huh.
They released this movie with fancy packaging, a glow-in-the-dark slip cover, and all this kind of stuff, and it's such it's a low-budget horror movie, and it's getting this treatment like it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
No, I'm okay with that because I actually think this is somewhat of a unsung classic. Now, this is a fun fact. We actually covered this back on the Fight Evil radio show like 10 years ago. And because I remember talking about this movie with previous members of Fight Evil, and that was the last time I had seen this one. So I've only seen this one twice, but seeing it again was sort of a nice surprise. But anyhow, the plot of the movie, before I get too hung up in it, there is a sort of insane doctor at a mental institute who is killed by the head of the institution, and then 20 years after this, a mysterious woman comes into the institution. She doesn't remember her name or who she is. And when she comes along shortly thereafter, an earthquake happens, which seems to crack the seal of an underground pit of dead bodies, victims of this insane doctor from 20 years ago. And things happen. The woman sees this doctor pop up, and it's fun things go down. This actually quite a bit of what you say about this movie. So I'll just start out with saying that I really liked the opening. It's like a 9-minute opening before we get to the title screen, and it just it shows a little clip of something happening, and it says one name, and it shows another clip, and then another name. I thought it's very interesting way to get you engaged in the story, and I thought it really worked because from the very beginning you're wondering, hey, what's this doctor doing? Why is this doctor following him? What's with this cool spiral staircase going down in this greenish light? I don't know. I thought it did a really good job of getting you engaged into the movie. But before I talk more about this, and I will, because spoilers, this is the best movie we're discussing tonight. What were your opinions on this one, Chucky?
Yes.
I know after my high praise, you're thinking, God damn it, this is shit.
No, it's not bad. I actually hadn't seen this movie before. I'd obviously heard about it, but never really ever bothered to give it a watch. There are some things I liked about the movie, but I think I liked the idea of the movie more than the execution. There are some scenes like the doctor just randomly showing up in different places, and sometimes with his glowing eyes and things like that. I thought those moments were kind of cool and sometimes creepy, but it was a fairly cool looking character at times. But there's a lot of other things happening in the movie that I didn't really care about. I thought some of the acting was pretty hokey. the Jane Doe character, I mean, she spends quite a bit of time strutting around just in her underwear, which I certainly don't have a problem with, but at the same time it just seemed like they were doing it for that reason. It's got some okay effects, and yeah, like I said, I think there's a good movie here. I just think there's different things that could have been, or things that could have been done differently, or maybe if the acting was a little better or different, I would have enjoyed it more. I had an okay time with it, but I certainly didn't love it.
Yeah, I think this one part in this movie when things start, going a bit downhill, in my opinion, and that's about hour into the movie when the doctor rises his zombie army, and the movie turns in about for 15 minutes into more like a generic zombie movie. A bunch of zombies going around eating people, tearing people apart, and that's okay if you're a zombie guy, but with what we had before this, that just felt a lot more, generic than the rest of the movie. And I know it was probably necessary for the story, but that's one part that I don't really care much for.
Towards the end, I mean, I didn't watch a HD version of this, so correct me if I'm wrong, and I don't know if you did either, but at the end, it feels like I'm watching a model of a building rather than an actual building. I'm assuming it's a model where they're just
Yeah, I would assume so too. No, I don't think I watched an HD version or anything, but I mean that's the feeling I got from it.
yeah. So it doesn't hugely impact my rating in a negative way, but it's just one of those things where you just kind of like I'm well aware I'm looking at a model of a building, not an actual building, flooding with water and all this kind of thing.
Speaking of which, I do like how randomly I've not seen that many movies where holy water is the bane of zombies. So that's so fun. I mean, it's a very easy out. Hey sister, can you blast out this water? Well, I can do the prayer, but Jesus does the blasting. I mean, it's nice. It's quite an emotional time right there. But and that's actually another small thing I like. No, Jane Doe, I did it. I did love her character. She was okay. I did have a problem with him, but I really did like the British guy. And I'll tell you his name, but he's a bit of a nobody. Stephen Gregory Foster. I thought his character was pretty fun, and plus he likes blowing things up. So who can't like that? I don't know. He's just a pretty fun guy, and if there's any character in this movie that's worth watching, it's probably that guy. And one other thing, I really like the setting of this movie. It takes place in one building's occupied, but the rest of like the institutions just like empty, deserted buildings, and I don't know. They didn't use it necessarily as much as they probably could have, but just the setting of this is I think pretty fun.
I thought it was quite amusing when I looked this up on IMDb that I think all but one person actually has an IMDb picture.
Yeah.
So pretty much everyone, I mean, I'm not saying that they're completely nobodies. I'm sure they've been in some other stuff, but usually if they've been in anything half decent, they probably have an image of themselves on the website. So they've probably been in just a bunch of, one or two low budget things and gone away for most people. I was actually kind of surprised to see that the woman that plays Jane Doe, what was it, Cheryl Lawson?
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised to see that she's actually more of a stunt woman than an actress, because, I mean, she's a fairly attractive woman, so... And I see in some other movies she's played, like, literally someone called, attractive lady or something, or something like that. But yeah, I was kind of surprised, someone who is considered that attractive would be doing stunt work more than acting, so...
Yes. Speaking actually of which, this is one scene, and this is probably because I first saw this movie when I was much younger, but that scene toward the beginning when that dream sequence when she's getting her top ripped off by the high pressure water, that is one scene that has stayed with me for many years.
And for multiple reasons.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's that's I think the only bit of nudity we get in this movie, but she's a decently attractive actress, and like you say, she walks around half naked like majority of the movie. So it's not like after that scene you don't get anything.
Well, I mean, I can kind of see why she doesn't get too many acting roles. Her acting itself isn't that great.
To be fair, is her acting a problem, or is it just because her character doesn't know who she is and she doesn't know how she's supposed to act?
No, it's her acting.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of different people's acting, to be honest.
I don't know. I don't think there's a bad actor in this movie, to be honest. Aside from maybe the crazy doctor who was just maybe a bit too over enthusiastic. I'm done with studying life, now I study death. You gotta crack me up. I mean, the glowing eyes were a bit hokey, but I don't know. I think more than anything else, I find sort of a charm to that than a criticism.
Yeah, I do too. Those were the scenes that I wouldn't say. Well, yeah, when I think back at this movie, that's what I'm going to be thinking of, rather than anything else that happened.
And also, another small thing, toward the end of the movie, we're given it's not really a plot twist, but I guess to the character, it's like new information because I'm pretty sure for halfway in, you definitely knew this was coming up. But I sort of really like the way they reveal the information. It shows her running as an adult, and then it shows her running as a kid, and it sort of shows the images together. And I don't know, I sort of like that. It's like the movie. It tried to be more than what it is, and it tried to maybe make the scene have a bit more impact than it probably was ever going to. But I still thought it came out somewhat okay. This movie isn't a perfect movie. There's a few issues with it. Like I said, when it becomes more of like a generic zombie movie, I sort of lose a bit of interest. But at the same time, it's also like a water tower that's blown up by a cool British guy. So I mean, who can't like that? I legitimately enjoy this. It's a movie I enjoyed when I first saw it, and I think when we talked about it on the radio show way back when, I probably gave it the highest rating back then, and I still enjoy it now. So I would give this an 8.5, and I'm going to round this up to a 9.
That's a pretty high score. Maybe you were high when you watched it.
I was actually not, but that might not be a bad idea.
I actually was thinking somewhere between 5 and 6 out of 10. So I think I'll give it a 6. I appreciate some of the stuff it was going for, and I don't necessarily... Like I said before, I like the idea of the movie. I didn't necessarily think it was executed all that well. It was quite sloppy at times, and it just didn't do it for me. Though I will say that I'm sure I'll give this movie another chance at some point in a few years, and who knows, sometimes it just depends what mood you're in at the time, and that will affect your rating. Sometimes you're in a great mood to watch a certain type of movie, and that helps. And I'm not necessarily saying I was watching this movie at a time where I didn't want to watch it, but sometimes it's just better than others. And
yeah, that's one thing. It's difficult. When you go into a movie, you try to go in somewhat neutral. But if you're having somewhat of a bad day or like a good day, it sort of changes your perspective of the movie. Like this is a movie I was really happy, I was excited to see again because it's been like 10 years. So it's very possible that colors my view of my experience.